So this presentation was actually put together by the Career Center, which I really appreciate that I was able to utilize their items. I talked to them at length, and we both felt that we were on exactly the same page as to how resumes should be written and what the opportunity for that is. So a resume, as we've talked about, is really, it's not about what you've done, it's about what you can do. It's truly a marketing document, and as somebody who works in marketing consulting, I can tell you it is a work of art almost. You might think it just has facts on it, but in reality, it is a very carefully crafted, very carefully worded document for an intended audience, which is exactly what marketing is. So we use resumes when we're doing job applications, internships, anytime you want to present yourself professionally. Because you're in school and you're coming out of school, and I just want you to note, just no matter what happens during this time in terms of the economy or during, as a result of, anything that happens as a result of this, coronavirus passing through. When I graduated from Cal State San Marcos in 1993, there was a major recession happening at that time, and I still got a job, and I still did extremely well in my career. So I don't want anybody getting nervous or upset or thinking that there may not be jobs. There are always jobs for people who are interested in working, absolutely. And it's just getting to the right people to find them, and that's where the networking comes in. So if you have a good resume that can be passed around, it's very helpful, specifically on the networking aspect that's mentioned there. So you are looking to convey a professional image on your resume. The great resume will not help you land a job. It will just get somebody's attention enough to prompt an interview request, just like I explained at the beginning. So you can use your resume as an opportunity to demonstrate the professional image that you want to convey and to highlight your written communication skills. Because if it's written well, somebody will feel better about it. There's a lot of typos, there's misplaced grammar, things of that nature, punctuation issues, then that sends a message that that either you don't know how to do that or write that way, number one, or you didn't seek help to have it look right. And seeking help is as important as knowing how to do it yourself. So it's very important to take a look at that. An effective resume also includes the core skills and qualities that define you and are relevant to the position that you are looking for. So how long does it take for a resume to make a first impression? Somebody care to guess? I'm going to unmute you all. I need some guesses here. How long does it take for a first impression for a resume?
5 seconds.
Close.
10.
Somebody else want to guess? 7. Oh. 7 seconds. That's all it is. It's just 7 seconds. That is your time window that you have to get somebody's attention. I mean, literally, it's the attention span of a gnat, quite frankly, and that's giving a gnat a lot of ideas, right? So you really have to be proactive about how you do this. So I see a lot of resumes that look like this, and like this, and like this, and the first two are not good resumes. They may look pretty, but they're very difficult to see. Now, a little word to note is, I would say, I don't know if Ben would agree with me on this, but a lot of the people who are reading resumes are probably 35 and up. They're the people who are in hiring managers. I could be wrong, but I would say a majority of the people are. I can tell you I'm going to be turning 50 this year. I can't read anything anymore. I have to use my glasses. So anything that has super small type, I'm just going to say forget it and not even look at it. So that first resume that you see here, Alex, I wouldn't even bother because it's too small a type to begin with. Rachel is prettier, but it's too hard for me to follow the format. Kelly looks better. Kelly looks a lot better. It could probably be done better, but Kelly does look better. So the things you want to make sure to avoid is you want to make sure to avoid the templates that are on Word. And you want to include information here that will send your resume, including anything that's shown here on this things to avoid we'll send it exactly to the no pile. That whole 50%, let's find out a way to say no. I don't think I thought of this list when I was looking at things. It was just an instinctive, I don't want this, I don't want that. I need to see, you know, quickly whether somebody's going to be able to, you know, communicate who they are to me or not. And so anything on this list is an absolute avoid. If you are going into marketing or graphic design, and it is important, like you want to go work on, you know, the marketing ad agencies in New York or something, that's another thing. I haven't seen anybody indicate that that's what they want to do. Most of you want to do HR, management, supply chain, things along those natures. So really, you're going to need to keep keep it down in terms of the crazy looking resumes. There's also different systems. You can go here and take a look at these. I'll send this PowerPoint to each of you that were here today so that you can get access to these resources, because you want to make sure that the tracking systems they use an OCR reading system, and that's why things need to be a bit more plain. And I'll go through that in just a minute. And what that does is it helps read your resume correctly so that it translates properly into their systems. A lot of companies are using tracking systems to pre-read that resumes, and like a computer is pre-reading it and dumping people and or moving them through the process. So therefore, once again, you need to stay away from text boxes, live links, things of that nature. It just doesn't help you. So what do you need to know? You need to know about yourself. You're really selling yourself. And I know it sounds basic to say understand yourself, but it will save you a lot of time in the long run to first consider what you are interested in and what's important to you. For me, it's really important to work in a space where I have the ability, some freedom to make my own decisions and to work under my own direction. I wouldn't do well in certain situations, so I have to know that about myself. Also, what can you offer to an employer? And relevant skills, strengths, and experiences that you've had, even the experiences you've had with your senior projects, with any internships you've done, any work that you've done, all of that can be very relevant if positioned correctly. And we recommend that you brainstorm a list of your current and previous schools, courses, projects, internships, awards, jobs, anything that you've had. We absolutely suggest that you go through and write all that out and say, okay, who am I? You know, what do I offer to this world? And you will, the point of this is to see what all of the things that you offer, so that when you go to the audience that you're going to, you're putting the right things there. And building career success. These are all things that are super important to almost every field out there. People need to know that you can write, that you have critical thinking or problem solving skills, that you're able to work as a team, even remotely. It's very important to know that people can do that too, that you have access and capability of working on technology. I can't tell you the number of people I've been working with this week, trying to train them on Zoom and other meeting sharing platforms, and I just had to learn it myself 10 days ago to this extent. So you gotta be quick. So these are the things that the larger the bubble, the more important it is. So those are the things you want to make sure to focus on. So number of pages. I personally feel for every 10 years of experience, there should be one page. Obviously, if you have a CV or something else that's specific to higher education, that's completely different. But for students and new grads, you should have a one-page resume. If you have been in the business world and you're a returning student and you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you can certainly have a two-page resume. There's no concern about that. But we're looking to make it easy for people to say, yes, you're a good person and that they want to interview you, okay? 10 to 12 point font is a very professional looking font. Do you know what the difference between a serif and a sans serif font is? Anybody who's unmuted? I'll go over that in a minute so I can show you, because I have that to show you. And no more than a 1/2 inch to 1 inch margins all the way around. These are very technical things, but they really make a huge difference in how you put together your resume. And you absolutely want to focus on your accomplishments, 100%. You need to talk about not the fact that you did filing at, you know, your aunt's office, but what did that filing allow to happen? You know, if you were the person that was doing the filing when you were 16 years old and that was your job, or you were supposed to stuff envelopes, that meant that you learned about process. That means that you learned about how what you did, you know, helped contribute to the company and help them, you know, make more sales or reach out to more people. You know, there's ways of explaining things and to show things as an accomplishment, as opposed to this is just what I did. And that takes some good writing skills. And so one thing I will offer to you is, if you want to write up your resume and you want to send it to me, I'm happy to go through and help you rework the wording so that it works better. So just keep that in your ideas of things as, you know, a resource for yourself. And you want to make sure to put keywords on there, because if you go to different job postings and different sites, they're specifically looking for keywords to push your resume through. So this is really tiny. Let me see if I can read it. Your name should so this is an excellent example of what a good resume should look like. It's simple. It's very easy to follow the path of what people are looking for. We want to know, how are you educated? What do you know? Who are you as a person? And you definitely want to use a professional email address. I have 10 email addresses, to be honest with you, but I use 2 primarily. One is my Karen@stayvisiblemarketing.com, which is my professional email address, and the second one is KarenTheRedhead@gmail.com. So, you know, which one am I going to use on a resume? Well, if Stay Visible Marketing wasn't my company, I probably wouldn't use my company email address, because I don't want to alert the company that I'm looking for a job. So therefore, I would use a Gmail, but the Gmail Karen the Redhead, really, I don't know that that's quite professional enough. I think I would probably create a Karen.Gunther or Karen.Gunther.Temecula if Karen.Gunther was taken. I would do something to distinguish so that it was a bit more professional to put on a resume, even if that was the only time I used that email address was for resume work specifically. You also want to make sure that you group things by your experiences of what you have and what you know, and you also want to use action words. It's really important at the beginning of any statement that you use action words. In addition, it's action words. I don't agree with how this person has done it here. Oops, where did it go? Hold on. Let me go back. Right here, I don't know where I don't know where it went. There's supposed to be, oh, here's the highlighter. Hold on. Right here. Okay. Right. Oh boy, that's good, Karen, right? It says covered, developed, and adhered. Those are all past tense words. It was suggested to me, and I absolutely agreed with it, that people should use current tense. Just because you did it in the past doesn't mean you don't know how to use it in the future. So if there's a way to reword it so it sounds like you do this currently or you have this skill currently, it is my belief that that makes it a stronger statement. It's not, I did it in the past. It's, I can do this right now and I can continue that ability to do that. The header needs to be professional. These are all great professional headers. I personally prefer to conserve space. So I would tend to put things on the same line. I would not include a street. I prefer Calvin Cougar, to be honest with you. And I would probably put the phone number. I'd put Calvin Cougar on the left, the LinkedIn profile on the left. Notice how the LinkedIn profile doesn't have a lot of words and letters after it, after Calvin Cougar. That's called the vanity profile name for LinkedIn. There's a way to set that in your settings. You can control what your URL is that the world sees. It's very simple to fix. So I would put the phone number and the email address on the right, and I would put Calvin Cougar and the LinkedIn profile on the left. That way I'm only using 2 lines versus 4. So there's more space for me to talk about who I am as opposed to how to contact me. It's optional to put an objective or a summary of qualifications. I prefer to put a summary of qualifications personally, because I find that people know that you want a job. So why bother telling them what they already know? Why don't you tell them why you're going to be good at that job? That's a better use of that space, of that real estate on your resume. On your education, you do want to make sure to put the full name and of your degree. I see a lot of people say BS or BA, and that's not appropriate. You want to actually put the full name on there. You also want to put, I'm all excited about this now, I don't know how to fix it. And if it's appropriate, your GPA, definitely leave your high school off. I would say also leave your, if you need to add something in for space, go ahead and put in if you have an associate's degree from a local community college. Otherwise, I would just keep it to your latest your latest degree, which is what you're getting right now. On experience, this is all very appropriate. It just shows experience, what you did, how you did it. Again, I would make things current tense as opposed to past tense. And I would make sure everything's lined up correctly. I think they're offering two different experience, options here, but I absolutely agree with how this is put together. My personal opinion is to put the dates on the right and to tab it correctly in your system so that it locks to the right-hand side of the page. And you're not tabbing across, because if you tab across, things could look funky on the right-hand side and you want it to look clean and appropriate. So we're looking for STAR statements: situation, task, action, and result. And for example, in what ways did you perform the job better than other people did? How did your contributions make a difference? Like the envelope stuffing, how did that make a difference? Did you receive any awards or recognitions or promotions that resulted from your experience? You want to paint a picture of who you are as a person. Let's see here. Here's experience with STAR. Passive is responsible for team meetings. Duties included answering phones. I can't tell you how often I see the passive on resumes. And I help a lot of people with the resumes, not just with Cal State San Marcos, but just personal friends and people in the groups I'm a part of. I offered myself as somebody to help with the resume, so I do this all the time. I see a lot of the passive. Sometimes I see some of the active, and the active is good, but the STAR is answered busy, complicated, multi-telephone systems with 100% accuracy. I'm going to send you this PowerPoint so you have it, so you can refer back to this. For every single thing you put on your brainstorming list of what you've done, you also need to put a STAR statement next to it so that you know what you're going to grab when you go to grab it for that specific resume that you're putting together for that job. My suggestion would be to have one master resume that you can add and subtract from, or maybe have one master resume with all of your STAR statements on there, and then you can just subtract if you're going after a very specific job that only needs to see certain things. Skills and other categories. I love this. I love showcasing what else do you know, who you are, and what does it provide. Professional associations means you go beyond yourself and you're looking to learn more. You're not just going to go to work, punch a clock, come home, and watch Netflix, right? You're actually interested in learning, you're interested in participating, you're interested in being a part of the larger community that's out there. If you have technical skills, super important. A lot of people expect people coming out of college right now to know how to use LinkedIn. I cannot tell you the number of my clients that say, oh, I'm hiring this person right out of college, they know LinkedIn. I'm like, no, they don't. For the most part, a majority of the people that I run across do not know how to use LinkedIn properly. For them, it's a brand new platform that they have not spent time on. So the fact that each of you, I see many of you on LinkedIn, is just fantastic. Double thumbs up that you're actually utilizing that resource. Super important that you get very comfortable with that, because any employer you go to is going to expect that you know it, because you know why? They don't. They don't want to take the time. I hire somebody like me to go in and be them on LinkedIn, and that's my job, and I charge the money for that. So you might as well have the opportunity to bring that skill set with you. And, I certainly don't want you taking my job away, but I think there's plenty of business out there, right? If you have any skills such as language skills, oh my gosh, absolutely include that. And if you have anything that shows that you're good at leadership or that you were active, absolutely include that if there's space and it's appropriate. References. Absolutely have a references sheet. I always had one sheet of paper that I put together with multiple references, and the references, one's for sales, one's for marketing, one's for management, whatever it is. Because I was able to identify that on my references sheet, I was able to provide it. So if somebody was looking to hire me, they could go just to the correct line and contact that person. And it always is on a separate document. You do not need to state references available upon request. That does not need to be on the resume. That's understood that that's an option. makes you look good when you provide it on a separate sheet. It should have the same header as your resume, and it should also have the same formatting in terms of type, font, and size and such. So this is a sample bad resume. This is the interactive portion. Sam, you're not muted, so tell me what's wrong about this resume.
Well, for one, the font that they use makes it really hard.
Correct. Okay, and Luis, what's another thing that's bad about this resume?
I don't see the skills that we just talked about, unless that's on another page.
It's a little bit more glaring than that. Pick something else. There's something else. There's 2 or 3 things on here that are just horrendous. Looking at it, when you look at that, besides the bad font thing that Sam noted, what else are you seeing?
They don't, their degree, it doesn't show their degree.
Think more of formatting. What's wrong with the formatting?
Oh.
And yes, the degree is on there. It's at the top, but is it configured correctly? Did they write it all out?
No, that's what I meant. It's like
oh, I see. Then yes, no, you're absolutely correct. Absolutely. And Katrina, what else?
It literally says this is a template under computer skills.
I totally missed that. That's great. That's awesome. Very good. Okay, Sasha, I'm going to pick on you. Go ahead and unmute yourself and tell me one more thing that's wrong with this.
The dates aren't lined up on the right side.
Correct. Yeah, that's a huge, huge, huge pet peeve of mine. Oh my God. So does that help you with the resumes? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so the cover letter. So what's the function of a cover letter? The function of a cover letter is to introduce yourself, right? So the first paragraph needs to be if you've been referred, how you found the job posting, where did you find out that this, you saw it online, you saw it on LinkedIn, you found out about it through a networking person, whatever, however you found the posting, you found it through the Cougar Jobs, through Handshake, whatever, however, why are you sending them this resume? That's where you identify that is in the first paragraph. The second paragraph includes 2 to 3 key skills that are specific to that exact job. And then the third paragraph is a thank you to them for providing the opportunity for you to send them that and to request a follow-up call or interaction with them. The resume then is streamlined, appropriate to that job. Remember, we have all those brainstorming things that you did with your star sentences that you can then put in specifically for that job to keep your resume to 1 page if that's appropriate for you, and to present yourself in the best absolute light. So, and then you have a professional signature line. Again, the font needs to be a sans serif, and it needs to be the same, and it needs to match. You'll see here on this page where it matches. No, it doesn't. So this cover letter, so Carla Counselor, whatever she has at the top should be exactly the same as what's at the top of her resume. Okay. So I had put in here an example, and I thought I had grabbed the right one, and I did not, which is a bummer. I wanted to show the difference between a serif and a sans serif. So let me show you this. Let me find my little highlighter thing again. Let me find my mouse first. The problem with having 4 screens. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. I want the highlighter, and I want this color. Okay, so this right here is a serif font. A serif means it has the little whoop-de-doos. Do you see the little extra things on the F? You see the extra things on the F? You see the P has a little extra thing at the very bottom here. It has like a little extra thing. The sans serif font, on the other hand, is like this. It's just very straight and very specific. The sans serif means it doesn't have the serif. Sans means without. Serif means extra thing. I don't know what serif means, but it means the extra thing. Okay. So see how the E in leadership has extra things that go down and goes on the side, whereas the E here does not. So therefore, this is a serif font right here, and this is a sans serif font right here. So the key to this is that a sans serif font, the font that's simpler, is easier physically to read, and it's also easier for those computer computer systems that are doing the OCR reading to actually read as well. So you want to make sure to do the sans serif font because it just looks better. And it looks as if this is also a serif font right here because the G is not, like, see the difference between this G here and this G here. See how they're completely different? And so this one right here is the preferred.